Dennis finds himself cast out from the Adventurers Guild he was a member of, but instead of giving in to despair, he sees this injustice as an opportunity to pursue his old passion. With the help of a mysterious girl named Atelier, he begins a new chapter in his life, not as an adventurer, but as a chef aspiring to open his own restaurant. Our new story begins with a group of adventurers battling a giant monster. Everyone is trying to defeat it when the monster unleashes a very powerful magical attack. The adventurers use a protective shield, but it shatters from the force of the monster's blow, injuring one of the female adventurers. Our hero, Dennis, approaches her and uses his magic to heal her. We then see the monster enhance its power, becoming larger and stronger. The leader of the adventurers, Vigo, then rallies everyone, telling them, "We are the Silver Wing. Do not retreat. We are the strongest guild in the world, and we will defeat that cursed monster." We then see all the adventurers at a meeting table. The adventurer Dennis asks, why was an emergency summons issued? What's the point of this meeting? Vigo tells him, "The responsibility for the failure of our last mission rests with you, Dennis. If you hadn't used the sound of terror, the cave dragon wouldn't have escaped. But we would have defeated it immediately." Dennis angrily retorts, "You're the one who ordered me to use it." Vigo denies this, telling him that the mission was to defeat the cave dragon and collect rare materials from it. But the cave dragon suddenly went into a frenzy, making progress impossible. Dennis remembers what happened in the cave. When the dragon attacked them and wounded most of the adventurers, Commander Vigo ordered him to use the sound of terror. When Dennis did so, the dragon fled and the mission failed. Dennis then thinks to himself, "It's rare for Commander Vigo to make such a sound decision, so I was impressed at the time." Commander Vigo then addresses him directly, telling him that he would never issue such an order and suspects that Dennis orchestrated all of it to tarnish the guild's reputation. He also suspects that Dennis is a spy from another rival guild. He then tells him that he is expelled from the guild. Everyone is saddened by Dennis's expulsion from the guild. Dennis tells them that he will withdraw from their team since everyone wants that. When Vigo tells him that a cook like him joining the team in the first place was a grave mistake, Dennis becomes angry and prepares to use his power. Vigo also prepares to attack. Then he says, "The Silver Wing squad is for skilled swordsmen, magic priests, and heavy swordsmen like me. It's for those with suitable professions, but there's no place here for a lowly cook like you." Dennis gets angry but calmly withdraws and leaves. We then see Dennis in the city, where he meets a little girl whose balloons have flown away. Dennis flies up, retrieves the balloon, and returns it to her. Dennis continues on his way. We see Commander Vigo watching him from atop a building, saying that the time has come to seriously implement the plan. We then see Dennis leaving the city, and his friend Katie rushes up, asking him to stop. She asks him why he was expelled from the guild and begs him not to leave, because if he does, all the things he was in charge of, like making medicines and practicing alchemy, will collapse. Dennis tells her that there are other adventurers with such skills who will take over. Katie tries every way to convince him to stay, telling him they will never do without him, but Dennis still refuses. She asks him what he will do next. He tells her he will cook, as that is his unique skill. He is thinking of opening his own restaurant. He then thanks her because she was the one who discovered him and invited him to join the Silver Wing. Then he leaves, his life as an adventurer over, and his new life as a cook beginning. He then heads to that city and begins to buy restaurant supplies. He buys a refrigerator, but then suddenly remembers his favorite book, How to Open a Restaurant and Guide for Former Adventurers. Dennis then changes his mind about buying the refrigerator and tells the shopkeeper that he will use ice magic. Then he leaves the shop, saying, "Oh my, that was close. Maybe I'm a bit too excited about this. Alright, let's focus and do exactly as How to Open a Restaurant, a Guide for Former Adventurers says." Chapter 4 of this book, I'll study it well. You need to buy an old property, then renovate it to keep the cost down. Don't forget to contact distributors. He proceeds to buy some items, spotting a beautiful frying pan and taking it. He continues on his way, and after a while, he finally has everything he needs. All that's left is the cooking, and more importantly, the customers. And customers won't come without good cooking and a good reputation for the place itself, but he needs to hire someone to help with some tasks. Next, he goes to the slave market and sees a man announcing a girl. Come closer, young sirs. This girl's parents were defeated in a power struggle and exiled. She became displaced and ended up here. Today we are selling her at a good price. Come and take a look at these noble features." Dennis watches the girl and thinks, Her hair is beautiful, her eyes are beautiful, her skin is beautiful, she's truly wonderful, and perhaps she is the daughter of a noble family, just as that merchant says. He sighs. If only I had a lot of money to free this girl. If only I could do everything. But unfortunately, I can't free this world. The girl looks at him with sad eyes, and Dennis remembers something. Perhaps a previous girl? Or one of the places where they raided a home when he was fighting with his team? Everyone starts bidding, some saying 100,000, others saying 300,000, while still others say 800,000. At that moment, Dennis says, I will buy her for 1 million. But someone else says, I will pay 1,500,000. Dennis is shocked by the amount, but this man is probably a pervert, and his face shows it. Then Dennis says, I will pay 2 million. The man says, I will pay 3 million. Dennis says 4 million. They continue like this for over an hour, and finally Dennis gets her for $5 million. He ends up using all the money he has to get the girl. He takes her to the hairdresser to comb her hair, make her look nice, and fix her up well. Yes, she's truly beautiful. Then he takes her and they leave the place. Dennis takes Atelier and they walk through the city streets. He tells her, if you don't follow me closely, you'll get lost. Atelier walks behind Dennis, but suddenly he disappears. She searches for him but can't find him, and the city residents start arguing with her for not paying attention. Atelier imagines many things and becomes scared, but finally Dennis reappears and takes her, saying, I was so worried about you, I'm sorry about what happened earlier, I was walking too fast. She asks him why he bought her. Dennis replies, for no reason. I just remembered something from a long time ago, that's all. He then asks her for her name, or the name he should call her for now. She tells him her name and they get to know each other. Dennis thinks about what Atelier should do. He tells her, use the second floor as you wish, and if you don't want to stay, you can leave. You are free. Atelier is very surprised, but it becomes clear that she is very hungry, so Dennis takes her and prepares food for her. He finishes preparing the meal and gives it to the girl. She begins to eat, finding it incredibly delicious, eating quickly and eagerly, as if she had never eaten before. Afterwards, tears stream down her face. Dennis thinks to himself, I don't know what she's been through, and if she doesn't tell me, I won't ask. He then asks her, is the food delicious, Atelier? But she can't answer. Her face red, because all the food is stuck in her throat. He tries to help her swallow the food. After that, Dennis watches Atelier clean and polish the table. Then she joins Dennis in all his work, helping him prepare his restaurant, which he has named the Adventurer's Restaurant. They finish setting up the restaurant together, hoping it will bring them good fortune. Dennis then tells her to be their advertising girl, and she agrees. He reviews the items in the restaurant and finds everything is ready. The first customer enters the restaurant, opening the door. They find a man wearing full armor, his face hidden. Who is this man? What is his identity? What does he want, and why is his face hidden? Wait for us in the next episode to find out together. We hope you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell icon to receive all our new updates. Our story today begins with Denis. His first customer entered, but he was masked. They were surprised to see him wearing a full suit of armor. Denis thought to himself, having remembered his book, How to Open a Restaurant, very well. On page 64 it said, among your customers will be those who do not wish to be disturbed. Respect their privacy and make your restaurant a place where they can easily spend their time. So, Denis said to him, welcome sir. Please have a seat wherever you'd like. Hey, Atelier, get him some cold water. The customer sat down and opened the menu to decide what to order. We see a very excited Denis saying, maybe he'll order rice or pasta. He's my first customer, I'll take good care of him. The customer pointed to the small rice and a few other items. Atelier brought the water and said to him, sir, why don't you speak? Tell me if you want a large dish. Do you not have much money? The customer told him yes. Denis then said, all right, customer, would you like a fritre katsudon? He nodded yes. Denis decided to prepare that very expensive dish for him, which shocked the customer. Finally he spoke, screaming in a girl's voice, wait, please. I don't have enough money for that order. Denis told him, be quiet. I can't let my first customer eat a small meal. There's no need for you to pay anything. But wait, what is this voice I'm hearing? I think I heard a girl's voice. Are you a girl? The beautiful girl confessed that she had been kicked out of her party because she was a girl, and they didn't want girls. They told me that female sword fighters are weak and annoying in various ways, and that they don't need one in their group. But that's not true. Gender has nothing to do with skill. A girl can be the strongest of the strong, stronger than men, Denny told her. You're right. She then told him she was level 23, which is truly amazing. She mentioned that in the strongest party, the vice captain of the Silverwing Battalion is a female duelist. Her crimson, flashing sword is the first to strike in every battle, delivering a very powerful blow. She is a legendary duelist. He told her he knows her well, that she is a truly dangerous woman. Dennis understood then why she was hiding her gender and looking for a party to join. But unfortunately, I can't join any party without speaking. A person has to talk to them, which is very natural. After all this chatting, her order was finally ready. It looked really beautiful. I'm getting hungry, my friends. Are you hungry too? She said to him. Look, I swear I don't have any money. Are you sure this is for free? He replied, Ma'am, just eat and don't you worry. The bill is on me. She took a bite and found it so magnificent that she began to eat voraciously, having never tasted anything like it before. She finished the food as if she had swept and washed the plates clean. He told her, this time it's free because we were just testing the food's taste. But after this, you have to pay. Your pocket must be full. And do some advertising for us as you go. Tell people about our beautiful restaurant. Until you find the party you're looking for, you can stay and work with us here. Later, two men went to the restaurant to taste the food and found it very delicious. The rice was cooked perfectly, the pasta was made with wyvern meat, and the girl working there was very cute, and her food was delicious too. Atelier became very shy from this comment. Denis thought to himself that Atelier was a bit like a cat, then remembered the state she had been in before. Afterwards, Atelier served the people, and they thanked her very much for her hard work and diligence. These men then told her that this was a lucky meal before they entered the Dimas. Denis understood that they were an adventurer's party. He asked them if they needed a swordswoman, as he knew one who was looking for a party, possessed the necessary skills, and had a very pleasant personality. One of the men from the party agreed and asked him to have her come quickly, and they would take her with them tomorrow. Denis was astonished that he found a place for her so quickly, but this party was currently lacking in offensive power, which was a problem for them. The scene then shifts to Denis going to Henri and telling her that he found a party for her very quickly. She thanked him for what he did for her and told him she would join them immediately. She promised to pay him back as soon as she received her first wages. Denis told her that he knew it was strange for him to say this, especially since he was the one who found the party, but he wanted her to think and be more careful in choosing her party. End of part 1. Henri reassured him, telling him that if he worried about everything, he wouldn't be able to do anything. Denis told her that the decision was hers, he just always wanted to see her well. He then presented her with a dish, an oyakudon with cocatrice meat. Henri thanked him very much for what he did for her, and when she tasted the food, she found it very delicious. She then told him that she had to make a lot of money quickly to pay him back. Denis was taken aback because he had told her he didn't want anything from her. After their conversation, Henri left the restaurant. We then see Denis and Atelier preparing a lot of food. When night fell, Denis stood washing the dishes. At that moment, he saw two girls eating in the restaurant, looking very happy to have found such a wonderful place. When Denis saw them, he asked Atelier to bring him the shop's sign. At that moment, the two girls sat talking together. One said to the other that recently an adventurer party had appeared that accepted a girl on her own, only to attack her inside the Dimas. Her friend was surprised and asked why people like that weren't arrested. She explained that they take her to depths from which she cannot return alone, then leave her there after having their way with her. They apparently do this about twice before moving on to another town. Denis overheard all of this and was shocked by what was happening, left to ponder their words. After that, we move to the guild where Henrietta introduces herself to the people there, telling them she is a proficient swordswoman. Many people stand before her to encourage her. Then we see the adventurer party approaching her to introduce themselves. We then see them heading into the forest to begin their work. Henrietta asks them about the type of operation they will be doing. They inform her that it's a simple mission where they will head to the Dimas to collect some items, and they will tell her more inside. Henrietta agrees to their terms. Although she wanted to know more, she didn't want to seem intrusive. She decides she will do as they say. When they arrive at the Dimas, Henrietta kills the monster in front of her with a single blow, as expected from a swordswoman like her. Everyone congratulates her on what she did. Having someone like her among them gives them a sense of reassurance. Henrietta thinks to herself, this is the first time I've felt that someone is relying on me. I've always been treated as if I were weak because I'm a woman, or they were overly cautious cautious with me, but things might go well with these guys. I'll do my best. They continue on their way, and suddenly a huge monster appears before them. Henrietta attacks it with all her strength, cutting off its legs and arms and striking it with numerous powerful blows until she finally kills it. She then apologizes to them, saying, "I'm a little tired. How much further are we going? I thought we wouldn't go in too deep." Her companion tells her their destination is very close. Then Steel speaks up, saying, "These crystals that glow a greenish moon are called memory crystals. This is what we came for." Henrietta is impressed, but also very tired, and she collapses. Steel asks Marmuk to cast a healing spell on Henrietta. Instead, Marmuk casts a paralysis spell on her so she cannot move her body. Steel tells her she's a fool. "We flattered you just a little, and you got full of yourself." Marmuk says, "Don't call her a fool. Thanks to her, we're going to get some fun memories." Steel replies that swordswomen are the most enjoyable. They aren't annoyingly smart like sages or sorceresses, and their bodies are fantastic too. "I will cast the paralysis spell on you again. If you're lucky, someone will save you." They imply they are going to rape her, saying, "We'll have sex with you for an hour for free." She thinks to herself, "Just as the manager said, I should have been more careful. If I had been more alert from the beginning, I would have sensed that something was amiss." She screams, calling for anyone to save her, but there is no one in that place who can hear her voice and come to her rescue. Finally, the masked man appears and attacks them. Everyone becomes terrified of his immense power. They try to cast a search spell on him to find his weakness, but it doesn't work. He is too strong. At level 99, the difference between their level and his is enormous. He begins to attack them one by one at a very high speed. The girl thinks to herself that he moves as if he were a highly skilled chef, and she faints on the spot. The scene then shifts to Henrietta recounting what happened last night to the cook, not knowing that he was the one who saved her because he was wearing a mask. She says, "When I woke up, I was lying in the Adventurers Guild waiting room. I couldn't even thank that mysterious, muscular, knife-wielding man. The party members who attacked me were unconscious, tied up with ropes, and left at the entrance of the Dimas. When the guild investigated, it turned out they were a criminal group, and all of them were wanted. I feel like it was all a dream, but in any case, this proves I have to be more careful in choosing my party members." Denis apologizes to her, feeling guilty as well, saying he should have looked into them more. Henrietta tells him that's not true. "You helped me, so thank you very much." Suddenly, her stomach growls with hunger, but she is embarrassed because she has no money. The cook tells her, "It's okay, eat whatever you like." She requests a specific meal and he begins to prepare it. Those two girls from before enter to eat. He prepares food for them as well, and in a few moments he serves them their food. They start eating and find it very delicious. Then one of the girls asks the manager, "Why didn't you open yesterday? It's unreasonable to close the restaurant 2 days in a row." He apologizes, telling them, "I had something I had to take care of." Henrietta imagines the manager as the same person who saved her last night. Before she can speak, a customer enters the restaurant to eat. Who could this customer be? And what does he want? They call him Vivia the Sorcerer. Wait for us in the next episode to continue these wonderful adventures together. But if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell icon to receive all that is new. Hello friends. If you haven't seen the first and second episodes, I will leave the links for you in the first comment. Our third episode begins with Henrietta, that girl with the beautiful golden hair. She says to Dennis, "What do you think about me working with you here?" He tells her that it's a good idea, but she has to master the work completely. And now he will bring her a famous dish, the delicious ramen. As for you wanting to hide your gender and wear a helmet to become an adventurer so no one assaults you, that might be very difficult. If they don't see you, they will definitely hear you. But in the end, you have absolute freedom. The important thing is that your order is ready. I've put 2 slices of meat on it and also a little pepper and an egg from my Indian chickens. Henrietta didn't eat, but thought a lot about Dennis's words when he told her, "You have absolute freedom, but in the end, you are a girl." She quickly goes into the bathroom, takes off her armor, and then comes out as her true self. Atilia welcomes her and says, "You did the right thing. Honestly, this is the best thing you've done. Be confident in yourself now." Then she eats the beautiful noodles while talking to Dennis, saying, "Your words really affected me, as if you weigh words of gold." And these are the words of a skilled chef, Dennis tells her. Don't say that. I'm just an ordinary guy. Don't keep flattering me so I don't get more conceited. Anyway, let's get to the important part, sweetie. Every day, you come to eat under the pretext that you're looking for a job and you eat for free. I didn't open this restaurant for God and the country. I opened it to make money. Find yourself a good job and pay your bill. I gave you the first meal for free, but not every time. Have some decency. At that moment, a strange-looking person enters. They don't know yet if it's a man or a woman. He opens the menu and looks at the items they have, but he is confused about what to order. What do you think of the pasta? Our pasta is very good. He said, no, it won't work for me. It's heavy and gives me heartburn. He asks him, what about udon, which is one of the dishes? He said, no, it's too heavy for my stomach too. Dennis gets angry and frustrated. So, what do you want? Get out! Don't give me a headache. Henrietta calms him down, saying, the customer is always right, sir. Don't be so harsh with him. That moment, Atelier comes to her and says, you should order the fried rice. It's really good. And indeed, she agrees to this, and with that we learn that she is a girl and not a boy. Dennis quickly prepares the meal. He was very fast, as it is his famous profession. In just 10 minutes, the food was ready. She eats it and indeed finds it very delicious. While she is eating, she starts a conversation and says, I will talk to you about a topic that always occupies my mind. The people around me are of a very low level. Their mentality is weak. All they think about is completing the tasks in front of them and earning meager sums. They never aspire to become an elite party. Dennis looks at Henrietta and says to her, see the people who want to be something, who want to work and strive, not just eat and be done with it. She said to him, what are you saying? He told her, I'm saying what you heard. You can't even earn crumbs. Maybe you should bury yourself under the ground. She told him, note that your words are hurtful and I'm not used to such harsh talk. Then the blue-haired girl continues her words and says, these people always lack ambition. A group of passionless people pretending to be swordsmen without a duel is truly unforgivable. Yes, I am talking about adventurers. True adventure is exploration, exploring unknown lands. But when I talked about this, they kicked me out of my party. They told me, get out of here, you fool. You have no more business with us. Dennis is surprised and says to her, what? They kicked you out too? Then he says to himself, what is this story? Our restaurant only attracts outcasts. Then he speaks to her and says, be careful what you're saying. Don't get too excited or you'll end up alone and won't find anyone at all. Then she gives him the money for the food and introduces herself by the name of Vivia. Then she leaves. The next day we see Vivia again, having decided to join the Night Mist team. When a woman is as great as me, she finds herself popular, Vivia boasted. He corrected her. It's not Shabuya, it's Shabiya, popular. And don't get so full of yourself or you'll have a hard time in life. But I'm very happy that you have such wonderful enthusiasm. That in itself is a beautiful thing. Then he prepares shrimp fried rice for her. She eats it and it was truly a beautiful dish. So much so that as I'm making this video for you now, I wish I could eat that dish. Do you want that too, my friends? Write your favorite dish in the comments. She then asks her, when will you start your first mission with that party? She tells him, probably tomorrow. Her first mission is to gather rare materials for synthesis, so we will most likely head to the 5th floor of the Dymas. At that moment, Dennis decides to assess her level and finds it to be 17. He thinks this is somewhat high for her age, but for the 5th floor, it's recommended to be an adventurer in their late 30s. It's not an area where you'd preferably take an adventurer of her level. After analyzing her and talking to himself, he asks her, isn't that deeper than what? She cut him off. I know, manager. It will be fine, God willing. It seems the most elite members of our party will give me their full support. Then Dennis talks to himself, saying, a person's level is a measure of the number and types of skills they have acquired. The reason the basic stats increase with each level is that the skills become more refined and remain effective most of the time, provided they have actually acquired and practiced many advanced skills, not just read about them. Then she asks him, Dennis, what about you? Haven't you entered at Demos before? He tells her the last time he entered was on the 37th floor and it was very dangerous. We encountered a monster there, but thank God we defeated it. Then she gives him the money for the food and leaves to go to the 5th floor. After a few hours, Dennis comes out with his assistant and talks to himself, saying, what's the story? She probably went to the 5th floor. I'm scared for her. Why do I worry about everyone like this? Maybe I should go to her quickly and force her not to go. While they are wandering through the market, two people pass by Dennis, and he overhears them talking about the kid Vivia. They say they forced her to go down to the 5th floor just to see if she would come back alive, and that the leader, Hopper, does really scary things, as most of those who went down to this floor died. Dennis runs after them and hits them. They don't know why he did that. He tells them he wants to talk to them about something. They inform him that they are members of the Night Mist party. Then they attack him to beat him up. But Dennis crushes them, then leaves them and goes. After that, he tells Atliet that they will close the restaurant for the day. She asks him about dinner, and he tells her not to worry, he will handle it. The scene then shifts to the Dimas, where we find Vivia running from monsters. She is alone and doesn't know what to do. She remembers the words of the Night Mist party members when they told her that the leader has high hopes for her and that she must do this as a trial to join their party. She keeps running, and as she runs, she falls to the ground. Then a very strong rope wraps around her leg and magic flows through the rope, so Vivia cannot untie it. She tries to remember the breaking spell, but can't remember it at all due to her intense fear. Her mind is completely blank, even though she had read all those books carefully and had written them down over and over on paper, thinking she had memorized them perfectly, but she can't do it. In this situation, the monsters will find her and will stab her over and over with those broken bladed knives, and her body will be torn to shreds. Suddenly, a spell comes from afar, from someone, and frees Vivia's leg, so Vivia is able to escape. At that moment, Vivia hides with that girl in this place, so no one can see them. He then thanks her for what she did for him. It was his good fortune that she could use this ancient spell. He then tells her that he didn't know about this place before, and that they must find a way out of here. He then tells her his name is Vivia, and the girl tells her her name is Cynthia. Vivia asks her, "Did you get lost and end up here, or what?" She told him that her party had left her behind while they were escaping from monsters, and she got caught in the same trap. But no one came to save her. They all fled and left her. No matter what she did, she was never good enough at the basics and brought them a lot of trouble. Then she told him that she had burdened him with her talk, as he had nothing to do with the matter. Anyway, she was waiting for her party to come and save her. Vivia replied that he was just like her. No one was coming to save him, and perhaps he had been too arrogant. Every party he joined, he got into disagreements with them because his personality was so bad. Cynthia told him that he wasn't like that, which surprised him because she didn't know him. He then told her that he had never talked to a stranger before and didn't know how to describe it, but he felt better being with her. After that, they hear the sound of monsters again. Vivia speaks up and tells her that he will become bait to draw the monsters' attention, and while he does that, she must escape, even if she has to leave him behind. She refused, saying she couldn't do that. If he didn't survive with her, she wouldn't do anything either. Vivia told her that if she hadn't saved him, he would be dead by now. This was the first time he had felt this way, and when he thought about it, he realized he had been living selfishly his whole life, looking down on those around him and always thinking he was different. But now, she had saved his life and surrounded him with her kindness. He wished from the bottom of his heart that she at least would survive. Therefore, he would go out first and draw their attention, and in the meantime, she should escape. Indeed, Vivia goes out in front of the monsters to distract them, using a palm strike spell to create a barrier between her and the monsters. The monsters try to break the barrier and eventually succeed. Suddenly, a masked man appears. When Vivia sees him, he gets very scared and tries to hit him with his spells. The man tries to calm him down. When Vivia hears his voice, he recognizes that it's Dennis, the restaurant manager. Dennis uses his power to create a large, strong barrier between them and the monsters. Then Dennis speaks and asks him why he jumped in front of the ghouls, saying he made him worry. He tells him they must hurry and get out of there while they have the chance. He then takes him to escape. Vivia tells him that there is another person, a girl who saved him from those ghouls. Vivia keeps searching for her but can't find her, thinking she must have escaped. Dennis tells him that he didn't meet anyone on his way. Vivia goes to the crevice to look for her and finds the remains of a skeleton. Vivia is shocked because it was the girl he was talking to and he didn't know she was a skeleton. When they go to the Adventurers Guild, the receptionist tells them that the girl's name was Cynthia. She was fundamentally 10 years old and worked as a sorceress. 13 years ago, she was separated from her party on the 5th floor, and her fate was unknown. She must have passed away there. After that, Dennis and Vivia take the girl's remains and bury her. Vivia is very sad for her. Dennis tells him that he has heard of this before. The spirits of adventurers who die in the Dimases sometimes save living adventurers. Vivia continues to cry for her and tells her that he will always visit her grave and will become the #1 sorcerer in the world, no matter the cost. And he will save girls like her no matter what it takes. At night, Dennis and Vivia are on their way back. Dennis tries to make Vivia laugh, telling him that he's hungry and will prepare fried rice for him to eat with him, as he doesn't want him to stay in this state. He says that the girl Cynthia is now resting in peace in her grave. At that moment, Vivia feels a spectre coming from the direction of the girl's grave and is surprised. He says to himself that in ancient times, people had mysterious experiences, things they couldn't explain and things that touched their hearts, so they began to call them magic. If that was true, then she was indeed a sorceress. The scene then shifts to a girl standing on a very high wall of a church, looking very sad, but we don't know what's wrong with her. And so ends today's episode. If you liked the video, press like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to receive all that is new. Our episode begins with the girl, Batchheel, at her workplace. We see her boss call her over and scold her for not finishing the reports yet. Batchheel apologizes to him. The manager and everyone else begin to make fun of her. Batchheel tells him that the numbers for the achievement bonuses don't match, no matter how hard she tries. The manager hits her on the head with the papers and tells her to keep working until all the numbers match up, mocking her because she is level 32 and still not good at her job. Then we see Batchheel at her desk, working hard. She says, "The total number of collected items is wrong. No wonder the achievement bonuses didn't make sense. Senpai has been working here longer than me, yet he keeps making silly mistakes. And I still have to wake up at 3 o'clock Gayamang for an early mission, and I haven't eaten lunch or dinner. Now all the stores are closed." Then Batchheel remembers hearing about a new restaurant and heads towards it. But she sees Atelier closing the restaurant and becomes sad because she is very hungry. Atelier notices this, goes inside to Denis and tells him there is another customer. Batchheel appears and asks him to prepare some food for her. Denis agrees and tells her to choose whatever she likes. She takes the menu and chooses the daily special. Denis begins to cook the food. Batchheel realizes the place is very nice and decides she will spend her vacation here. Then Denis finishes preparing the food and places it in front of Batchheel. She is amazed by its appearance and aroma. When she eats the food, she is astonished because it is so delicious. Henrietta tells her that the food here is very tasty and recommends she try the fritra dish and the magic Roman, as she was the first customer of this restaurant and knows all the dishes. In fritra. Then Batchheel looks at them as everyone talks together and begins to laugh. Then she suddenly starts crying. She apologizes to them, explaining she just realized that such delicious food, such a warm place, and such kind friends exist in this world. Every day she faces anger for no reason and harsh words at work, is forced to work late, and wakes up every morning feeling like she wants to die. She then remembers the old days when she was very young and was good at using magic. When she grew a little older, she said goodbye to her family and left to become a greater mage. She then joined a magic school and became exceptional, and the headmistress asked her to join the teaching staff. Batchheel then decided to join an adventurous party to make money quickly. We return to the present and see Batchheel leaving the restaurant. Denis and the girls are perplexed by Batchheel's strange state. Then Vivia says he remembers that girl. She's from the Night Mist party. This party had once left him for dead. He doesn't know her personally, but saw her just once, and it bothered him because her leader treated her so cruelly. Henrietta suggests to Denis that they do something and save Batchheel, but Denis refuses, telling them he is just a cook and all he can do is feed people. The next morning, very early, we see Batchheel waking up, but she can't move because she hasn't had enough sleep. She arrives at work late and everyone starts scolding her. Then they enter a dungeon, and while a monster is attacking the manager, Batchheel uses her magic and defeats the monster. Despite this, the manager still treats her harshly. Then we see Batchheel walking in the city, remembering the insults from her party members, how she is always wrong and how they lose because of her. Then Vivia and Henrietta see her by chance. She was standing on a high tower, saying to herself, "I never expected things to come to this." Vivia and Henrietta were watching her at that moment. "Perhaps, my friends, she wanted to commit suicide." Then she said, "Maybe there's no purpose in living. I am now one step away from departing this life." Then she falls. Henrietta jumps after her, trying to save her. Vivia then uses his superhuman abilities and creates a protective wall, which she lands on. Thankfully, they were all right. The scene shifts to Denis. The girl enters his room, but she is naked. He is shocked and says, "Why are you naked, you idiot? You shouldn't do this." She replied, "I am very sorry, but I couldn't find a towel. He gets even angrier and tells her, you shouldn't do this and walk around naked. He brings her a towel. Then Vivia and Henrietta enter and find them in this situation, misinterpreting it as if he were forcing her to undress. He explained the misunderstanding to them and that he was very angry. After that, they see Bachil, the visitor who had a meal at their place today, and it seems she is suffering from some illness. They immediately take her to a bed. She must be in complete rest and not think about anything else. That girl is from the night miss party, and it's probably impossible for her to find rest. Dennis said, I will talk to that party and tell them. Indeed, in the evening he meets with them. The party leader speaks to him, saying, we are very sorry. I heard that one of our members caused you trouble. Denis replied, no, I am the one who should apologize because I knocked 2 of your men to the ground a while ago. At that, the party leader introduces himself as Hopper, the leader of the night mist party. I've heard your food is delicious. In that moment, Denis assesses the man and learns that he is level 51, a very high level for an ordinary adventurer. As for Bachil, don't worry about her. She is resting now, and I was hoping you would agree to her leaving your party to receive treatment. They told him, that's impossible and will cause problems for us. We will take her with us. They then show him the contract she signed. He says to himself, what? Did she really sign this unjust contract? This amount of work should not be placed on one person. Their methods are probably too harsh. He said to them, an adventurer is free to join or leave a party. But Hopper speaks to him, saying, that's not for you to decide, Dennis. At this, Dennis gets angry and says, what a scoundrel you are. You work her to the bone and intend to squeeze every last drop out of her. You call yourselves an adventurer's party? Don't make me laugh, you fool. Are you just a gang of cruel scammers? Hopper becomes enraged and breaks the cup he is holding. Then he says, you're in our territory here, you idiot. That means we are the law. From today, there's no government. We are the government. If you don't want to get hurt, hand over Bachili immediately. The scene shifts to Bachil after she has gotten up. She says to them, why didn't you let me die? Death would have been better for me than anything. I have suffered so much and endured so many hardships. Atelier told her, you must not do this, to die in such despair. I once thought about suicide like you after everything was taken from me. Then they exiled me to another country after selling me as a slave. At that time, I thought about death. I felt there was no good for me in this world. But I remembered God and that all of this is by fate and destiny. Then, God destined for something beautiful to happen in my life that changed everything for me. I met this man, Dennis. He changed my whole life. So, you must not think about this matter again and trust in God's power. The scene shifts back to Dennis with that despicable group. The leader of the gang then tells Dennis that in every city with a dungeon, the strongest party holds the real power because no one can rival them. The Silverwing Brigade is a clear example of this. However, unlike the Silverwing Brigade, which has clients from royal and noble families, we only control this small town. But your place, chef, is a miserable shop, and we can easily burn it down. No one would even notice the burning of a small restaurant like this. Suddenly, Katie enters, interrupting their conversation. She praises the restaurant and starts talking to Dennis. He apologizes to her, explaining that he's in an important conversation. Katie gets very angry. She came all this way from the royal capital, and she expects at least a delicious meal. The gang members are surprised by this girl and want to know who she is. Finally, they realize she's the deputy leader of the Silverwing Brigade from the mark on her back. Everyone is shocked that Dennis knows this very powerful girl, as she's in one of the strongest parties in the world. Dennis then asks his friend Katie to sit down so he can continue his conversation. He tells them that he doesn't want to fight here, but they must find a way for Bachil to leave the party. At this moment, Katie hugs Vivia, thinking she's a beautiful girl. They tell her that Vivia is a boy, and Vivia asks her, what's your relationship with the manager? I mean Dennis. She announces to everyone that he was a former member of the Silverwing Brigade and was like my partner. Everyone is shocked by this. The gang leader is stunned by this revelation. Realizing it would be very bad to make an enemy of a man like Dennis, he quickly burns Bachil's contracts and says, I will allow her to leave the party. This discussion is over. I wish her a speedy recovery. We'll take our leave now. They depart, filled with immense terror. Afterward, Dennis talks with Katie and asks her what dish she would like. Then Atelier comes out with Bachil, so she can also prepare a dish for Bachil, who also wants to eat. They bring them the same dish, and they both start eating. It's incredibly delicious, and they finish their food in no time, utterly happy. They thank Dennis for the wonderful dish. With this happy ending, our episode for today concludes. Wait for us in future episodes. We kindly ask you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell icon to receive all our new content. The scent of simmering stew and fresh herbs filled the small restaurant as Dennis instructed Aklia to lock the front door for their evening break. The day had been long, and the quiet ritual of preparing dinner together was a welcome respite. But as the lock clicked into place, the door was thrust open with surprising force. A man, dressed in the worn but noble livery of a bygone era, stumbled inside and collapsed to his knees, his face a mask of exhaustion and relief. Sobs racked his body as he looked at Atelier, crying out, "After all this time, I have finally found you." Instinct took over. Henrietta, ever the protector, immediately drew her sword, her eyes narrowed with suspicion. "Stay back! Who are you? Are you a threat?" she commanded, her voice sharp. "Wait, Henrietta," Vivia interjected, placing a calming hand on her arm. "Let's at least hear what he wants before we run him through." Dennis stepped forward, his expression calm but authoritative, positioning himself slightly in front of the still frightened Atlia. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice steady. The man struggled to compose himself, wiping tears from his eyes with a trembling hand. "My name is Stephen," he announced, his voice raspy with emotion. "I am the head butler of the Werkstatt family. I have come to take Lady Atelier, Leah, back home." The name hung in the air. While Dennis and Henrietta exchanged confused glances, trying to place the name, the reaction from Bashia and Vivia was anything but calm. They gasped in unison, their faces draining of color. "The Werkstatts?" Vivia stammered, his voice an octave higher than usual. "You mean the Werkstatts? Only the most powerful and influential family of wizards on the entire planet?" The scene shifts as Stephen, now seated with a warm cup of tea to soothe his nerves, began to unravel the tangled history that had brought him to their door. He explained that Atlia's father had a younger brother, a cruel and ambitious man named Joseph. After the untimely death of Atlia's parents, Joseph had seized control, weaving a web of lies that painted Atlia as an illegitimate child, a stain on the family's pure blood lineage. This fabrication allowed him to claim the family's immense wealth and cast the young orphaned Atelier out, erasing her from their history. "But he failed to destroy everything," Stephen said, his eyes gleaming with a newfound fire. "I managed to locate your father's last will and testament. It clearly names you, Lady Atelier, as his sole heir." With this proof, Stephen had petitioned the kingdom's judicial court, which granted approval for a formal investigation to reinstate her. His voice swelled with excitement. "It is time, my lady. It's time to take back what is rightfully yours." His words, meant to inspire, had the opposite effect. The color drained from Atlier's face as a flood of traumatic memories of loss, betrayal, and abandonment crashed over her. She shrank back, grabbing onto Dennis's arm as if it were a lifeline, her body trembling uncontrollably. Dennis felt her fear instantly, a cold wave of empathy washing over him. His first instinct was to send Stephen away, to shield her from this pain forever. But looking at her, he knew she couldn't run from her past any longer. He knelt before her, his voice soft. "Atelier, look at me. You don't have to do this alone, but you can't let him win by letting your fear control you. You are stronger than you think." She looked into his eyes, searching for reassurance. "I'll go," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "But only if you are there with me." "Of course," Dennis said without hesitation. "I'll be right by your side." Minutes later, a transformed Vivia emerged, clad in his finest suit, looking utterly out of place. Is it really okay for me to join you on this grand adventure?" he asked, trying to appear nonchalant. Dennis smirked. "You spent the last 5 minutes on your knees begging like your life depended on it. I think it's a little late to act cool now." As Aftero also emerged, ready for the journey, Henrietta and Bashel stepped forward, promising to manage the restaurant in their absence. With their goodbyes said, the trio, led by Stephen, climbed into a waiting carriage and set off towards the royal capital. After several hours of travel, the carriage rolled through the grand gates of the royal capital. The sheer scale of the city was overwhelming. Towering spires pierced the clouds, and the streets teemed with a vibrant, chaotic energy. Vivia was mesmerized, his face pressed against the window like a child seeing the ocean for the first time. "Try to stop making your low-class upbringing so painfully obvious," Dennis quipped, though there was no real malice in his tone. "I am a proud peasant," Vivier declared with a grin, refusing to be shamed as he continued to soak in the magnificent view. A short while later, they arrived at the imposing stone edifice of the judicial court. There they were met by Barrister Sestich, a sharp, impeccably dressed man with intelligent eyes. "I will be overseeing the investigation," he explained curtly, before leading them into a private chamber. First, we require a sample of Lady Atlia's blood for a preliminary verification. Stephen produced a small, sterile needle. The moment Atlia saw it, she recoiled, her previous fear returning. "No, keep that away from me." Once again, Dennis stepped in, his calming presence a balm on her frayed nerves. He spoke to her in low, reassuring tones until she reluctantly extended her arm, but the moment the needle pricked her skin, her eyes rolled back and she fainted dead away. Dennis caught her easily, handing her limp form over to Vivia. He then turned back to the barrister. "Tell me everything about this case." Sestich nodded. "The Workshot family was renowned for a powerful and unique form of hypnotic magic. It's highly probable that Lady Atlia possesses this latent power as well," he began. "Her uncle, Lord Joseph, is alleged to have assassinated both of her parents. He then used his influence and a campaign of vicious rumors to convince the entire capital that she was not of noble blood, allowing him to usurp the family title and fortune." He gestured towards a strange, glowing orb on a pedestal. "Thankfully, her father's will is irrefutable. All we must do is prove she is the legitimate daughter of both her father and mother. This is the orb of lineage." Sestich carefully took the vial of Atlia's blood and poured it into the orb. He then added archive samples of her father's and mother's blood. Almost instantly, a breathtakingly beautiful pink crystal began to grow within the orb, pulsing with a soft, rosy light. "The pink formation indicates a perfect match," Kistich confirmed with a satisfied smile. The following day, they all returned to the main courtroom for the official hearing. The hall was packed with nobles, all whispering amongst themselves. Seated opposite them was Lord Joseph, a smug, cruel-looking man who immediately fixed his gaze on Dennis. "Well, well," Joseph sneered, his voice carrying across the room. "If it isn't Dennis, the disgraced dog of the Silver Wing Battalion! Did they finally kick you out for good?" Dennis's jaw tightened, and he was about to retort when the judge's gavel slammed down. "Dennis Olaria! Silence in my court!" The full name caught Vivia's attention. He vaguely recalled that the Olaria family owned the most famous and exclusive restaurant in the entire capital. As he mulled this over, the judge proceeded to read Atlia's father's will aloud. As soon as he finished, Joseph's lawyer shot to his feet. "Objection! This will proves nothing! There's no guarantee the girl's mother was his wife. Lord Workstad was known to have dalliances. She is likely the child of one of many mistresses. Then let the orb of lineage decide the truth," Kestich countered calmly. The judge agreed. To ensure fairness, he declared they would draw straws to determine who would administer the test before the court. After a tense moment, Stephen drew the colored straw. He ascended the podium, his hands visibly shaking. First, he combined Atlia's blood with that of her father. As expected, the familiar pink crystal began to form, and a murmur of excitement went through the crowd. But then, as he added her mother's blood to the mix, the crystal formation violently shuddered. The vibrant pink shattered, the light died, and the entire mixture dissolved into a murky black sludge that boiled unnaturally within the orb. A shocked gasp echoed through the courtroom. "This is an outrage!" Chestich roared, pointing an accusing finger at Joseph. "He has tampered with the evidence. I demand a second test." But the judge, his face grim, denied the request. The test was performed according to procedure. "The evidence is clear." He slammed his gavel down. "This court rules in favor of Lord Joseph." As a concession, he granted the family's collection of books, deemed worthless by Joseph, to Atlia. As the court erupted, Dennis's sharp eyes noticed something. A tiny, dark red smear on the palm of Stephen's hand. In a flash, Dennis crossed the floor and hauled the terrified butler into the air by his collar. "What did you do?" he snarled, his voice dangerously low. "Terrified," Stephen confessed. "Lord Joseph, he promised to reinstate me as head butler. He gave me a drop of his own blood to mix in." The confession sent a wave of raw power erupting from Dennis. The air crackled and flames began to lick at his form, a murderous aura flooding the room. Joseph yelled for his knights to attack, but they were paralyzed with fear, unwilling to approach the inferno that was Dennis. Just as his rage reached its peak, Vivia grabbed him, forcing Dennis to look at him. "Dennis, stop! Think about Atlia, she needs you." The name, Vushi her name, was the anchor that pulled him back from the brink. The flame subsided and the suffocating pressure vanished. With a final hate-filled glare at Joseph, Dennis lowered Stephen and accepted the judge's ruling. Later, Sestich led the somber group to a dusty, forgotten cottage on the outskirts of the Workstad estate, where the family's books were stored. As they stepped inside the dimly lit building, Atlier, still dazed, stumbled and leaned against a loose bookshelf. With a groan of protesting wood, it gave way, revealing a hidden staircase and sending her tumbling into a dark basement below. As Dennis rushed to her side to check for a concussion, the gasps from Sestich and Viviev had nothing to do with her fall. They stared, awestruck, at the room the trap had revealed. It was not a simple cellar, but a vast hidden library. The shelves were filled not with novels or histories, but with ancient grimoires, tomes bound in strange leathers, and scrolls that thrummed with a faint, dormant magic. These are the foundational texts, Sestich whispered in reverence. They contain the powerful secrets and lost techniques that made the Workstadt family the greatest wizards in the world. He looked at Atlia with newfound understanding. Your father didn't mean for you to inherit wealth. He meant for you to inherit power, and we should take them back to the restaurant so everyone can read them, Atlia declared, her innate kindness shining through. Absolutely not, Vivia and Sestich yelled in unison. This knowledge is too powerful. It can never be made public property. The next morning, Dennis and Atlia prepared to leave the capital, the heavy books carefully packed away. As Vivia walked out to meet them, he passed a man leaning against a nearby wall. Vivia froze, his eyes widening in disbelief. The man was the spitting image of Dennis, identical in every way, though he carried himself with a colder, more detached air. After a few moments of stunned staring, Vivia shook his head and hurried on. As he left, a young woman with silver hair, Fiora, approached the mysterious man. Heath, she said softly, is that him? Is that the counterpart you've spoken of? The question hung in the air, unanswered. The loss of a fortune now seemed trivial compared to the new, far more dangerous mystery that had just begun. Our story begins with an endless line, a human river flowing towards a single destination. It seems to be a cue for Denise's restaurant. And indeed, it is. As we suspected, friends, Denis has become a legend in our city. The youngest child knows his name as well as the oldest elder, and for one simple reason. He is a master of his craft. People journey from every corner of the map just to taste his beautiful food. You are about to witness true magic, he tells them. Here, you will not only eat, you will eat, and you will read. But once you have finished your meal, you must leave immediately and make way for others. This is a restaurant, not a library. One day, a man with a kind face, his head wrapped in a turban that suggested he was from India, approached him. Forgive me, Mr. Director, he said softly. I am sorry to disturb you while you are so busy. I know my request is audacious, perhaps even illogical, but I believe that by analyzing the complete works of Monglemore, I may be able to heal my wife's illness. I know the true healer is God, but we are meant to seek out the means, for every disease has a cure. I beg you, please, let me borrow this book from you. In that moment, Denis paused. He thought of Atelier, knowing she would look at him and nod her approval. But this was a special case. The crowd began to murmur, how wonderful, he'll let him borrow it. Suddenly, Denis' temper flared. Silence, you fools, he roared, stunning the room. This is a special case. The Indian man thanked him profusely, kissing his hand before departing at once. The demands on Denis were relentless, and he was forced to work at his absolute peak. Yes, my friends, he unleashed his full power just to keep up with the orders, knowing that if he slowed for even a moment, he would accomplish nothing at all. The scene shifts. It is another day in another time. A deep winter chill has settled over the land. We see a young boy shivering violently in the freezing air. Suddenly, something falls to the ground. He sees it, and with a burst of speed, he runs after the lady who dropped her money. He runs so far and so fast that by the time he reaches her, he cannot even catch his breath. Touched by his honesty, the lady takes him into her home and gives him a hot meal. Watch how he holds the spoon. It's clear he has likely never used one before. You can see it for yourselves and be the judge. He is a boy from the very depths of poverty. He was so happy for the food that he began to weep with joy. Yes, my friends, that little boy was Denis in his childhood. He awakens with a start, pulled from a dream of his past. He had lost consciousness, and now his friends are all gathered around him. He was utterly exhausted, yet he tried to get up to continue his work. Don't, they told him gently. You shouldn't do anything in this state. We have closed the restaurant for today. He fell back, his body burning with fever, his temperature soaring past 40 degrees Celsius. It was likely just a bad flu that would pass, God willing. For now, he needed to rest, and when he woke, he would need to take his medicine. Everyone agreed it was best to leave him to get some peace. As the others filed out, Atelier pulled a chair up to his bedside and sat down, watching over him. Meanwhile, the rest of the group debated what to do. Perhaps they could find a rare plant or prepare a special kind of food. They were tense with worry, and as you know, people in a panic can be a whirlwind of disorganized energy. It was then that another man entered the room. His name was Tsuihousha. "What happened?" he asked, his voice cutting through their anxious chatter. "We returned to find Danny, still lost in the depths of his illness, lying in bed. Beside him, Atelier gently places a bag of ice on his forehead, hoping to quell the raging fever. But his condition doesn't improve. Racked with guilt, she apologizes to the unconscious Denny, believing she is the cause of his suffering. As she watches over him, Denny's mind drifts back once more to his childhood. He was a mischievous boy, full of restless energy. He found his way into a restaurant kitchen, desperate to learn the art of cooking, but his antics were a constant source of frustration for the chefs. They complained endlessly to the head chef, a wise and patient woman. She urged them to be patient with him, reminding them that he was a beautiful child whom she had taken into her own home. "One day," she promised them, "he will understand everything." The memory sharpens. We see a young, beaming Denis walking towards the restaurant, proudly carrying a dish. He is ecstatic, believing he has perfectly replicated a recipe he observed, using a special deconstruction skill to create the ultimate fried rice, where every single grain was separate and perfect. He was certain it would be delicious. Suddenly, a well-to-do lady enters the restaurant. Drawn by the wonderful aroma of his dish, she asks to taste it, remarking how impressed she is that a restaurant like Black's would have such a young, talented chef. But as she takes a bite, her face falls. The taste is terrible. Just then, all the chefs gather around. The head chef steps forward and, with a subtle, almost invisible motion, seems to use her magic on Denny's dish to make it taste better. She apologizes gracefully to the customer. "Please," she insists, "try the rice now." The lady takes another bite, and this time her eyes light up. "It is absolutely delicious!" The head chef explains with a smile. "It seems our apprentice forgot to add a key ingredient." Later, in the kitchen, Dennis approaches the head chef and apologizes for using a strange skill on the food. She asks him gently, "Do you understand the importance of using your skills correctly?" When he nods, she says, "Then it's okay." Dennis begins to cry, telling her he thought he had made the perfect fried rice. The head chef comforts him, explaining that he simply needs to study more and listen carefully to others. Denis agrees. "But how did you do that?" he asks, his curiosity overcoming his sadness. "You changed my dish into something delicious. I saw it. I used a deconstruction skill, but you used a combination skill. Didn't you?" She smiled. "That is very simple. I can do anything." A fire ignites in Dennis's eyes. "Can I become like you one day?" The head chef looks at him, her expression full of confidence. "I am certain you will." We return to the present. Dennis is still asleep, with Atelier now slumbering in the chair beside his bed, exhausted from her vigil. The scene shifts to Tsuihousha, Viva, and Henry. "Why are you really here?" Viva and Henry ask Tsuihousha. "I am obsessed with magic," he confesses. "Among the volumes that Lady Atelier inherited, there is one I am desperate to read. That is why I came." However, it seems Dennis's well-being takes precedence over any magical manuscript. He then changes the subject. "So, what are you all planning to prepare for him?" "We're going to make him okyu," Henry replies. Tsuihousha nods thoughtfully. "To do that," he says, "you must cook the rice first. When the rice is cooked to perfection, only then can you truly begin to make the oku. This means that what we should really be discussing is how to cook the most delicious rice using magic." "We must cook the most delicious rice using magic," he declares, his voice ringing with excitement. The idea catches fire, and suddenly everyone is buzzing with energy. This method, they all agree, will create a meal with an unbelievably delicious taste. Immediately, they fall into a passionate discussion about the type of flame they should use. "We'll use a normal flame," some suggest. "No, a specter flame would be better," others argue. A third group proposes, "Let's combine the normal flame and the specter flame." "Are you mad?" Viva interjects, his voice sharp with concern. "If we combine the two flames, the cooking heat could become unstable." "Precisely," Tsuihousha says with a clever smile. "We will use both the specter flame and the normal flame, and we will solve the problem of uneven heating by using a special pot, one that contains magical catalysts to stabilize the heat transfer. This, without a doubt, is the path to cooking the most exquisite rice using magic." Everyone cheers. "Now," Tsuihousha continues, "we must ask ourselves, how do we transform this perfect rice into a delicious okayu using magic?" The girls suggest they take a short break before tackling that challenge. Just then, Polfo enters, carrying a book. He had heard the director was ill and came at once. To everyone's astonishment, the book contains information about a magical tool called the rice box, an artifact designed to make cooking delicious rice effortless. They quickly acquire the magical box, place the rice inside, and all they have to do is wait for the magic to work. Soon after, Atelier emerges from Denis' room with wonderful news. The director is starting to recover. His fever is breaking. Everyone is overjoyed. When Atelier sees them preparing the meal for Denis, she tells them she will add eggs to the okayu. They are thrilled. She is a master at preparing eggs. That evening, we see Atelier enter Denis' room. He has just awoken. She presents him with the egg oke. He takes a spoonful and the taste is so magnificent that it instantly transports him back to his childhood, to the memory of the teacher who first taught him how to cook. He looks at Atelier, his heart full of gratitude, and thanks her profusely. And with that, the director regains his health and strength. With this happy ending, our episode for today concludes. We will see you in future installments, but we kindly ask you to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to receive all that is new. Our story today begins with Henrietta, who was exceptionally happy strolling through the marketplace. She greeted everyone, young and old, with a radiant smile. An old woman remarked to her, "You seem to be in a wonderfully good mood. What's the occasion, my dear girl?" Just then, she bumped into Vivia. Vivia looked at her, puzzled by her cheerful demeanor and the abundance of goods she was carrying. "What's all this about?" Vivia asked. "Why are you so happy? And why are you carrying so many things?" Henrietta's eyes sparkled with excitement. "I am incredibly excited for the feast today," she exclaimed. "So I bought a lot of things to prepare." As they continued their walk, they came across a familiar fruit and vegetable vendor. "Welcome, welcome," he greeted them warmly. "You've been away for too long. It's been a whole week since I last saw you. Please, don't stay away for so long again." They explained, "We're sorry. It's just that the Adventurers restaurant has been temporarily closed." "Closed? But why? What happened?" the vendor asked, concerned. They informed him that Denis had been feeling unwell and was taking some time to rest and recover. The scene then shifts to Denis, who was addressing his friends with renewed energy. "All right, everyone, are you ready?" he announced. "Atelier, you know where we're going. You won't be needing your apron for this." At that moment, Vivia and Henrietta arrived, their arms still laden with their purchases. "Come on, everyone. The moment you've all been waiting for is here," Henrietta declared, though the destination still remained a mystery to some. Henrietta then began to unveil the items she had bought: a fluffy towel, a bar of fragrant soap, and a large bucket. It soon became clear they were all heading for a communal bath. Once inside, everyone started to wash up. Denis, in particular, was quite pleased with his physique, flexing his muscles for all to see. Vivia, looking impressed, asked him, "What have you been doing? That's some incredible strength you've got there. How did you build all those muscles?" It was in that moment, as Denis looked at Vivia, that he realized Vivia was a man, not a woman, as he might have initially thought. Denis, in his typical straightforward manner, then asked Vivia, "Why are you so skinny?" Vivia explained, somewhat sheepishly, "To be honest, I don't eat very much, and I've never really paid much attention to building muscle." He then added, "But tell me, what's the secret to your impressive muscles?" Denis grinned. "I'll tell you," he said. "If you do 2,000 push-ups on your hands every single day, you'll look just like me." Vivia stared at him in utter disbelief, thinking to himself, "This Denis is not human." They spent a long and relaxing time in the bathhouse, enjoying the warm water and camaraderie. Later that evening, they gathered outside under a beautiful clear sky. The atmosphere was festive, and they had prepared a magnificent feast of grilled steaks, savory pies, succulent shrimp, and refreshing juice. Henrietta stood up to make a toast. "On this beautiful day," she began, her voice filled with emotion, "I am so honored and happy that you all came together and prepared this wonderful gathering." Her friends, however, were growing impatient with her long preamble. "Get to the point, Henrietta. You're dragging this out," one of them teased. "Oh, right, sorry," she said, blushing slightly. She then got straight to her announcement. "You have all taken such good care of me and shown me so much kindness, but now I am thrilled to finally announce that I have found a job." A round of applause erupted from the group. "That's fantastic! Where will you be working?" they asked eagerly. "Well," she continued, "I won't be joining the Adventurers Guild. Instead, I've accepted a position with the Knights. I've given it a lot of thought, and I've decided that I want a job where I can truly help people." Another, even louder round of applause followed as her friends celebrated her noble decision. She was beaming with happiness. Then Denis turned to Vivia. "And what about you? Do you have anything you'd like to share? Vivia, who had been quiet for most of the evening, spoke up. He announced that he had found his next party and was taking his first steps toward becoming a powerful mage. He declared his determination to do whatever it took to become the strongest he could be. Finally, it was Pachel's turn. She rose from her seat and a hush fell over the group. As for me, she said, her voice gentle but firm, I will be returning to my hometown. Her friends were taken aback. What? Why? They all asked in unison. She explained, after spending some time at my father's house, I will be heading to the capital to become a teacher at the prestigious Academy of Magic. Her announcement was met with a mixture of surprise and admiration as each of them embarked on their new and exciting journeys. Of course, here is the continuation of the story, translated and elaborated as you requested. Pachel elaborated. After I spend a little time at my father's house, I will head to the capital to become a teacher at the School of Magic. She offered a small, proud smile. They actually invited me to teach there even before I had officially graduated. Vivia couldn't help but chime in, his voice filled with admiration for his friend. She's being modest. Patel graduated from the most prestigious magic school in the royal capital. She's a true genius. Pachel blushed at the high praise, waving a dismissive hand. Thank you, Vivia, but I really don't know if I'm a genius or not, she said humbly. With all their plans now out in the open, the group decided to celebrate their new beginnings. The air filled with the delicious aroma of cooking as they prepared a feast. A particularly touching moment unfolded as Atelier, with a fond smile, lovingly fed a piece of perfectly cooked food to Pachel. Their time together had forged a deep and close friendship, and this simple act spoke volumes. As the evening wore on, Vivier turned to Denise, his tone more subdued. Everyone is going to leave soon, he said quietly. It's going to feel a bit lonely, won't it? Henrietta, overhearing him, was deeply affected by the sentiment. Her eyes welled up as she added, You're right. Maybe I should ask them to postpone my appointment for a little while. Denise's voice cut through the somber mood like a knife. Don't be ridiculous, he scolded her, his gaze sweeping over the group. He looked at each of them intently. Every one of you needs to set out and achieve the goals you've set for yourselves. If these things are truly important to you, then you can't afford to hesitate or throw them away for a moment of sentimentality. His powerful words struck a chord with everyone. They knew he was right. A new fire lit up in Henrietta's eyes. You're right, Dennis, she declared with renewed determination. I'll leave this town tomorrow. Tullier chuckled softly. Your job doesn't start for a little while, you know. With the mood restored, Denis took over the cooking, dazzling everyone with his culinary skills. He was making a large batch of fried rice, his hands moving with expert precision. Everyone gathered around, their mouths watering in anticipation, knowing that anything Denis cooked was bound to be incredibly delicious. Suddenly, a man appeared, seemingly drawn from the shadows by the irresistible scent. My, what is that heavenly smell? He exclaimed. He took a bite of the rice Denis offered him. I've never tasted fried rice this delicious in my entire life. The aroma itself just pulled me over here. Denis squinted at him. Aren't you the perverted owner of the general store? The man confirmed with a nod. That I am. What's your name again? Denis asked. Before the man could answer, Atelier chimed in. His name is Polfo. Polfo's face lit up with joy. You remembered my name, my dear Atelier. He immediately turned to her with a business proposition. How about you come work for me right now? Whack! Denis brought a ladle down on Polfo's head. Don't you dare try to poach our poster girl for another job, he warned. Denis then softened slightly. Look, I know you helped me out a lot today, so I'll let you have some of this food. He added, thanks to you, I was able to make that delicious egg soup, and I'm already thinking of new dishes I can create with that device you sold me. So, let me take this opportunity to properly thank you. Polfo rubbed his head, grinning. No, it is I who should be thanking you for your business, he insisted. So, Denise asked, getting straight to the point, what do you really want from us now? Polfo's grin widened. Well, I heard you were having a barbecue, so I came to offer a little something for the feast. I happened to acquire a cut of A5 grade Hagen beef. Everyone gasped in amazement. That was one of the most luxurious and expensive meats in the world. Well, Danny said with a smirk, since you went to all that trouble, we will graciously accept your goodwill. With incredible speed and skill, Denis began to slice the magnificent beef. The blade of his knife was a blur as he expertly prepared the meat and tossed it onto the grill. The sizzle and aroma were intoxicating. As soon as it was cooked, everyone dug in, their faces lighting up with pure bliss at the taste. While they ate, Polfo leaned towards Atelier. You know, I originally brought this meat just to honor you, he said. Just then, he saw her feeding a piece of the tender beef directly to Denis. Polfo's jaw dropped. Hey! "Feed me a piece too," he demanded. Amused, Atelier complied, feeding the store owner a bite. After the incredible meal, they all began to clean up the tables. As the noise died down, Vivia approached Denise, his expression uncharacteristically serious. "Denise," he began, "there's something I've been meaning to ask you for a while." Denis turned to face him, wiping his hands on a cloth. "What is it?" "Back at the tribunal," Vivia said, lowering his voice, "they called you by the name Denny Blacks. Does that mean you have some connection to the famous Blacks restaurant?" Then Denise says the surname of the head chef of the Blacks who raised me. "She allowed me to use this name, but I left the restaurant after a fight, so I don't like to use it much. That was when my level was approaching 90. We had a big disagreement, and now when I think about it, she was just trying to warn me. I also went through a phase like that." Ilya speaks to him, "But I understand why you are so proud of yourself. Reaching level 99 at that age is almost the maximum that can be achieved." Denis tells him, "I thought I would reach level 100 quickly. That's why I left the Black's restaurant. I traveled everywhere. I wanted to prove to the chef that I was right." Viva then said to him, "That's how you ended up in the Silver Wing Corps." Denis replied, "Yes, the Silver Wing is the place I stayed the longest, and with everything that happened, they took care of me there. But in the end, I didn't reach level 100. After that, the scene shifts to these two girls thinking about what to eat today. They go to a restaurant, but the place is closed for business reasons. Then these men come and quarrel with them and hit them, but the girls use their magic and attack them, and they are unable to move before they apologize. Then we see a fire coming out of the restaurant. Denis and his friends notice the fire from the direction of the restaurant, so Denis rushes to see what is happening. They help each other to put out the fire, but these girls come and tell them that these people are the ones who set the fire, so they all get angry. Then Viva said, "These are from the Night Mist Band." The man speaks, "You are too arrogant. This is your reward, and it's not just us from the Night Mist Band. The Silver Wing Corps and the Rockstadt are all of us who want to destroy you. This is your end." Everyone is astonished and afraid of this man's words. After extinguishing the fire, they enter the restaurant and are very sad, and Denise remembers everything that happened with them, all the memories. He remembers the beautiful memories that were in this restaurant, and remembers Atelier, when she used to serve food to people. Everyone is saddened by this, and Viva blames himself, saying, "I am the one to blame for this, because Denis saved me, and these people started to hate him, and I am the one who got him into trouble." Each one of them starts to blame themselves for being the cause. Denis tells them, "You did nothing wrong, and I never imagined that the Silver Wing Corps would get involved too. Most likely, Joseph and Rockstadt ordered Figo, so he passed the orders through the Silver Wing Corps, and the Night Mist Band committed the arson on their orders. That's all there is to it. I was the one who interfered in your affairs without being asked. I was very arrogant." Viva replies, "That's not true. You didn't make any mistake, Dennis. Let's defeat them all together. Isn't that what we've always done? So let's do it this time too." Dennis says, "It's okay. I'll open a small restaurant in another town. I'm a little tired, so it's okay." And luckily, no one was hurt. Everyone gets excited to fight these enemies, but Dennis tells them, "I think I'm strong enough as an individual, but you all need a lot of training. The most powerful noble house in the kingdom and the strongest adventurers party have united with us, and on top of that, they have followers who are quite strong. We are not strong enough to face them alone. Thank you, my friends, for everything. We are done for today." Then he takes Atelier with him and leaves. Viva shouts at the top of his lungs, "What happened to you? Where did the usual Denis go? Where is the Denis who didn't hesitate to antagonize the entire kingdom for Atelier's sake?" Denis replies to him, "I've come to my senses." Then he leaves him and departs. After a while, Denis returns to the burnt restaurant, opens the safe, and finds that the safe is fine. He takes the money from it and then says, "If I make a move, these people will follow me, and if we face them all, there will undoubtedly be casualties. We won't all come out of this safely, so I will leave before that happens." On the other hand, we see his friends standing in front of the restaurant, very sad, and we notice that a gang is heading towards them. We return to Denis and Atelier again. Atelier asks, "Can I go with you? I never want to see you sad." Denis tells her, "Things like this happen in life. It was a beautiful town. When things calm down, we'll take a tour and come back here." Their hands clasp each other's to always be united and together. Examinate Tatsich and Jeligulinet, Legurinet Davietse. To this extent, our episode ends today. Wait for us in the next episode to follow these exciting events together. But we ask you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive everything new. Our episode today begins with with a major tragedy. Dennis's restaurant was burned down. He stands by, watching, not knowing what to do. At that moment, his world goes dark. He finds two girls who tell him that the people who set fire to his restaurant were from the Night Mist Gang. Hours later, after the fire has been extinguished, Dennis checks his safe and finds the money is still there. Do you think he'll fight back and seek revenge, or will he just let it go? In response, one of the girls, Atelier, says she'll leave before a confrontation occurs because she doesn't want anyone to get hurt. Meanwhile, we see the other girls standing there when some unknown individuals arrive. Dennis then leaves the restaurant and finds them all gathered around. One of the girls who was with him speaks up, saying, "You're thinking of running away at night. We won't allow that, boss. I never thought you were a weak and lazy man to this extent." Even Flavia speaks, saying, "I've finally realized what kind of person you are, Dennis. You can't stand to see others get hurt, but when you're the one who's hurt, you don't care at all. Please, look at everyone who is here. Do you know why the townspeople gathered here so late? They all came to help you." Dennis, everyone was stunned, and so was I. I wondered, what's going on? Have people turned against him? But Flavia continues, "If you're sad, we'll all be sad with you. When you're hurt or in pain, we'll feel it too. Everyone is with him. We came from all different places and ended up here." He then remembers what happened. "You were also kicked out, weren't you, Dennis? When a woman is no longer needed, being kicked out can be inevitable. But this time it's completely different. The ones who need you and want you are standing in front of you now." They were speaking in a harsh tone, scolding him for not wanting to hurt anyone. "But boss, no one will kick you out ever again, and we won't allow it," they say. Even the disgusting man says, "No one who harms Ather or you will get away with it." Yes, my friends, it's the disgusting man, Volfo. Everyone is gathered around him now. They will help him. They will be there for him. "Let's fight together, boss," the manager thinks to himself. "How foolish of me. I'm the one who advised people not to give up on what's important to them, and now I'm trying to give up. I should consult them on all my matters." He finally agrees, saying, "Let's fight together, let's rebuild together." Everyone is overjoyed. He then tells them, "But I don't want anyone to call me weak and lazy." They suggest a name for their group, and Atelier says, "The Outcasts Restaurant." Even though it sounds harsh, it will be special. They really are outcasts. Dennis then speaks, saying, "Team Outcasts Restaurant and the good people of this town, listen to me carefully. We will crush the wicked. Evil will never succeed in this world. Injustice doesn't last, and if it does, it will destroy itself. But we are the wronged, and the wrong will triumph one day. That day has come, the day of victory. As long as we have started, let's go all the way to the end. Now let the counterattack begin." At that moment, Kitty arrives and apologizes for not warning him sooner. Dennis tells her, "It's not your fault. Don't apologize. I know you well." Kitty remembers what happened. She was listening with her own ears. The gang leader says, "As for the other matter, did you inform the Night Mist Gang?" She responds, "Do you really want to burn down that restaurant?" He says, "It seems you misunderstood. I just informed them of the situation. How the Night Mist Gang chooses to act is their business alone. The restaurant must be burned tonight, or there will be other consequences." Kitty hears this and rushes to warn Dennis before the fire starts, but unfortunately, she arrives too late, which makes her very sad that she couldn't do anything. Then Dennis said to her, "Leave all that aside. The most important thing is, I want to know one thing. I want you to tell me about Vigo's movements. I won't let this end this way. Maybe Vigo did this on his own, but I didn't stop his madness, so I am also responsible." She replied, "I'm so sorry, Dennis, but despite my flaws, I am the deputy commander of the Silver Wing. My duty is to protect the Silver Wing. I'm so sorry I can't help you with what you asked." She then left him and walked away. He said to her, "I'm the one who's sorry. I know that dealing with Vigo's whims is also exhausting for you. I asked you for something beyond your capabilities." The next morning, we see them talking to each other. Dennis talks about his mentor, the head chef at Black's restaurant, his adoptive mother. They ask him, "You mean she's your mentor?" And they imagine her as a gorilla. He says to them, "What did you imagine, you fools?" They tell him she's level 100, and that's the maximum level of human ability, the highest you can reach. As for normal people, the maximum is level 60. Among those who are capable, it's 80, and among them, it's very rare to exceed level 90. But in the vast majority of cases, they end their lives at level 99, and that's why the name of anyone who reaches level 100 is immortalized in history. Dennis jokingly hits him on the head and says, "Don't get so excited." Flavia continues, "The founder of magic, the king of strange devices, Yuzut, was said to be the founder of adventurers, the master of adventure, Natura, and the founder of skills and the king of the first nation, the first king, Yang Fari. They are all said to have been masters of rank. meaning you stand side by side with them. Do you understand this well? It's been a long time since you were so excited. Dennis says to him, calm down, my dear, calm down. It's not like that. You're a detective, but the head chef only honed her cooking skills, so compared to you, her fighting skills are very weak. But as a chef, she is at the pinnacle of her profession. Of course, she has a great influence in the royal capital. If we are looking for help, no one is stronger than her, and she will definitely help us in this ordeal. As soon as we get to the capital, I will go to meet her. Dennis then orders them to complete the plan they had agreed upon, and they do indeed arrive at the capital. We find them wearing cloaks and putting them on their heads to hide their identities. We see Vigo entering this place and this shop, and he entrusts a task to this girl and gives her this paper. The girl is very fond of him, and they complete this task. We then see Bachel telling the girls with her, we will go around and communicate with all the well-known witches and sages in the capital. If we stick to the plan, everything will succeed. Everyone is working hard, so we must also do our best. The scene then shifts to Henrietta, who is interviewing an official in the royal capital and the royal palace, and she tells him what happened. She asks him, can we build a criminal case around this? We arrested the perpetrators of the fire, maybe they will lead us to the others. The official says, even if we tighten the noose on them and arrest the leader of the Night Mist gang, it will be difficult to reach the Silver Wing, given their strong connections to kings and nobles. Henrietta expects that and tells him that they have a plan, and the official asks her to listen to it. The scene then shifts to Volfo, who is encouraging the people with him to work quickly so that he can finish the task and load the carts quickly. He tells them, you have to mentally calculate the number of tables and chairs that can be loaded into each cart. One of the workers says, that obsessed Volfo is really active. Within a few months, anyone who works for him becomes able to manage a store alone, but he has turned into an obsessed and foolish person. Volfo hears them and yells at them at the top of his lungs, and they quickly rush to carry the box and work for fear of him. Volfo then sees the girl Ateller, whom he is very fond of, and goes to her to ask how she is. She looks at a magical device and sees that it's a magical tool imbued with wind magic. Volfo uses it, and it's a microphone that amplifies sound, but it's damaged and needs to be fixed. A man then approaches and recognizes Ateller, saying, you're the owner of the magic books. The young man remembers when he asked Dennis to take the book, and Ateller allowed him to after getting Dennis's permission. Back in the present, he gives her the book, saying, I was on my way to return it, so I had it with me. He hands her the book and says, thanks to this book, I saved my wife. Thank you very much. I truly appreciate it. If you don't mind, I would like to express my gratitude in some way. Despite my appearance, I'm quite famous as a magician, and when it comes to wind skills, I can use almost all the high-level skills. Bulfo then says, we can use his help. I can use his help. We then see Golan perfectly executing the plan, as Dennis the manager had organized everything for them, each in his place with great precision. We then see Dennis going to the place where his cooking mentor taught him. Before he opens the door, he remembers a moment when he got upset with her. During a heated argument between them, he yelled at her in a rude way, there is nothing left for me to learn here, and left the place in an inappropriate manner. Back to the present, he opens the door. A worker says, we haven't opened yet and we haven't prepared anything, but Dennis greets her and everyone. The girl is shocked that it's Dennis and tells everyone that the assistant chef, Dennis, has returned. Everyone gathers around him, happy to see him, and they say, we heard you left the Silver Wing, and they say you're running a restaurant in the countryside. Dennis tells them, I came here today to see the head chef only. He greets the girl, whose name is Haizumochi. She is now the assistant chef and says, I never considered myself the assistant chef. The most I considered myself was an acting assistant chef. Then Dennis goes in to the head chef and begins to talk to her, saying, I came to check on you. She says to him, what brought you here? Isn't this the fool with the fried rice? She turns to him and says, your face looks a little better. Did you find the answer? He says to her, no, I still don't know. Maybe, as you said, I will never reach level 100. I traveled and learned a lot, and this is what I think now. It then gets to the point, saying, I heard from someone I know in the Silver Wing Battalion, Kitty, that a number of important figures will soon meet at one dining table. A judge from the Royal Court of Justice, the current head of House Workstadt, Joseph Workstadt, the leader of the Night Mist gang, Hooper, and Vigo from the Silver Wing Battalion, and the rest of the members. I think things are about to get busy, so I have to go back quickly. He thanks her very much, and then she leaves and prays for him, saying, I rely on you completely. The head chef says, this group is a very dirty group and we never know what they are planning, but we know there is a moment when they will all all meet. Dennis says, I want to target that moment. The head chef says, and what do you want me to do? He asks her for information. I want to know the place and time. You are the greatest chef in the entire capital, and thanks to your connections you can find out. The head chef replies, but as a chef, I cannot agree to ruin a dining table. But Dennis realizes that this is a very low-class method. What will Dennis come up with to get rid of this gang who have harmed him so much and burned his restaurant and his livelihood? Will he be able to get rid of them? This is what we will find out in the next episode, so follow us. But we ask you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive all that is new. Our episode today begins with Dennis and his new band. Maybe it's not new, but many people have joined him. He's very popular. Meanwhile, we see Laffy, who says, perhaps the mission is about to end. We will wander and communicate with all the known wizards and wise men in the capital. On another side, we see Atalaya and the arrogant womanizer man. He said to her, anything you want, I am at your service. Just command, and I will execute. From another side, we see Dennis when he finally went to his old teacher and guardian. She was also surprised by his visit. When she asked him what he wanted, he told her the full truth. He wants to know from her the truth about this group because he wants to target them and take revenge. So she said to him, welcome first, my adopted son. Here you are, returning after many years of absence, but you are saying horrible things. He said to her, honestly, I don't know what to tell you. I didn't think things would reach this extent, but life is treacherous, and more than that can happen. You know that I was always on my own and had nothing to do with anyone, and I'm not a troublemaker. But if trouble comes to me, I will not spare whoever causes me trouble. She said to him, I am really surprised. You weren't like this. What would drive you to do all this and plan these things? He said to her, look, I'll tell you. And he began to remember what happened when Flavia said to him, never give up your right. Everyone wants you, we won't leave you, and we will help you with everything. You should not be cast out again. We returned to reality again, and he said to her, that's it, this is the story. I want to be with the people who are with me and run my restaurant again and be on my own, and no one has anything to do with me because if I don't mark them, they will surely come and mark me again. She said to him, bravo, you have started to understand some things more, and for that, I will do what you asked, but you must listen to me first. Listen to me well. He said, I am with you, please speak. She said to him, look, teacher Dennis, now I raised you from when you were little. I gave you everything, a means of living, shelter, cooking skills, everything in the literal sense of the word. So he said, oh, thank you very much. She said to me, look, there is one thing I have not told you. To reach level 100, you need the last piece. I will only give you some hints. On another side, Dennis goes outside and says, if I had understood those hints, I wouldn't be suffering now. He has to talk to me in riddles. At night, Dennis thanks that girl, Hozomuchi, for her efforts, and she says to him, take this paper from Chef Jean. It includes the details of the meeting you requested. He said, thank God. With this, we have completed our full preparations. Then he called his comrades and said to them, let's give it our all, and everyone cheered him. It seems it will not be an easy battle. On another side, we see Feigo, and his girlfriend calls him. She said to him, where are you going? Stay with me for a while. So he said to her, I'm going to do a few things because I'm busy. So she told him, that's how leaders always are, always busy. He said to her, what are you talking about? You are a waste of time and silly, leave me alone. His girlfriend Kitty leaves while he gets in the car and thinks and says, what's the story? The place I aspire to will be located behind this place. On another side, we see those farmers planting in the ground and the younger brother calls his older brother, but he was very sick and had a cough. These two brothers, their father died of a disease, and then their mother ran away with another man she was in love with. The younger brother, Gais, was suffering from problems in his lungs. Our friend Feigo is the rancorous leader who hates people, but he was still young. A lady comes to him and tells him to say something. He and his little brother. He thanks her very much for what she has done for them, but we see a very evil look in his eyes. We don't know why it's like that. Then we see that dog, and the strange thing is that this dog eats better food than what humans eat. Feigo gets angry and kills it and hits it with painful blows. His little brother, Noah, tells him to stop, brother, but the other was very angry and said, this animal eats better food than we do. How is that? In the morning, someone brings evidence of the crime to the master and tells him, this stick was found in the old engine and it has traces of blood on it. Here, they discover the truth of the matter. The woman's husband looks at Feigo and finds his clothes and them stained with blood. He discovers that he is the one who did this, but Feigo kicks him with a powerful kick and said to him, ah, I am the one who did this. In the evening, something strange happens. Feigo planned planned an evil act again. He burned the entire palace and then kept watching from a distance and said, "I have taken everything from them. They are now just like us." After that, in the morning, we see his brother completely dissatisfied with him, but in the end he accepts him because he is his older brother. And we see Feigo doing harsh training to the point that his hand is stained with blood. And also after that, we see a group of people in the evening gather around him and say to him, "What's wrong with you, boy? Do you want to hit all of us? We will mark you." But Feigo performs supernatural acts and grabs all of them and hits them all. Not just that, he also massaged them and acted with them. After that, the leader of the Silver Wing joined his band and said to him, "I am the leader, Gadius. Welcome to us. I heard that you exceeded level 80, which means that he is the second most powerful person after the leader in front of you guys." Then he gives him a hand and says, "I have great hopes for you." On the other hand, we see Feigo and his group killing the monster. Then the leader comes to him and says, "My son, you must fight with your group because in unity there is strength and in division there is weakness." However, Feigo had a different opinion. He always fought alone and did not rely on anyone, and what helps him in this is his immense strength. Not only that, he did a very wicked thing to his leader. He made the dragon behind him get angry in a certain way. The dragon went wild and ate the leader. After that, we see the group, and they are very sad about their leader, while Feigo is standing and watching them. They told him, "Since you are the strongest after the leader, we will entrust the leadership to you." Of course, they did not know that Feigo was the one who did this, guys. This boy is very dangerous, and he really became the leader. It seems he wanted that from the beginning. One day, that bald man decided to resign from the band because the other was always treating him savagely. He was heartless and merciless. After that, we see him sitting with Kitty, and he said to her, "I want you to be with me and be my right hand in the Silver Wing band." We return to reality again, and they have finally reached their destination. Feigo enters Lord Joseph and says to him, "It is an honor for me to be your guest today." He said to him, "Okay, my dear, you are welcome at any time. But tell me first, what is the reason for this sudden visit?" He closed the curtains and said to him, "Wait for me, so no one can see us." The leader Joseph says that nothing can scare him, for he is the head of the Orchestat family. Feigo says that nothing is left of the worthless restaurant they burned. Then he turns to the man with the wounded face and thanks him for his good work. The old man says that since they are united, their future is secure. Joseph says he won't stop there. He'll rule the kingdom from the shadows. He says they have gathered the greatest authorities in law, military power, and political influence. He claims the royal family in Kingsland is no match for them, but they must be grateful to Dennis, who brought them together. Just then, a young boy enters with food, surprising them all because he came in without permission. The boy apologizes and Joseph tells Feigo it's okay, but he asks the boy what he has with him. The boy explains that the chef said they forgot to bring one of the dishes and presents it. The dish and its contents glow with light. They see it's fried rice and the boy tells them it's the chef's signature dish. They order him to leave quickly. They start eating, finding it delicious. Lord Joseph is the first to eat and everyone is amazed by his aggressive eating. He tells them it's so delicious and he used to think fried rice was only for the poor. He never knew it could be this good. The others also try the rice and love its delicious taste. Lord Joseph tells the boy to tell the chef to bring a proper dish because the amount is too small. He also says, "Bring the chef too. I will hire him in my kitchen. There is no greater honor than this." The boy says, "Understood. I will convey your words verbatim, sir." Feigo thinks to himself about Joseph. What a despicable man. He doesn't practice magic, but brandishes the power he stole in front of others. He's just a pig, and the others are all like him, mindless. They're all scum who only want money. This is all just a ladder I'm climbing. When the time is right, I'll get rid of all of them. Then I'll be the one who saves the kingdom from these vulgar criminals. I will become an unparalleled hero, and then I will get a formal place in the nobility. It will be easy to establish a great noble house that everyone respects. But I won't stop there. I will rule all the neighboring countries. I will rule them all. This is the place I seek. Joseph asks, "Why aren't you eating, Feigo?" Feigo starts to eat and feels that he has had this food before. At that moment, our hero Dennis enters, wearing a mask on his face and presents the legendary fried rice dish they requested. Then he takes off his mask and says, "I am grateful for your offer to work in your house, but I am forced to refuse, Mr. Joseph. How dare you turn my restaurant into a pile of ashes? I should thank you as I should." Everyone is shocked. Lord Joseph commands Feigo and Hooper to do something, but Feigo interrupts him and asks, "What do you want, Dennis?" Dennis says, "I want to beat up the members of this small gang." Feigo says, even if you succeed, you won't solve anything. If you spill the blood of the head of the Orchestat family and the highest judge in the country, referring to the elderly man, a wicked man in their gang, the only possible punishment for you, Dennis, is execution. Dennis tells them, I don't care about those things. If someone hits you, hit them back. That's all there is to it. Dennis then shouts at them, showing them his power. They all fall to their knees, except for Feigo, and they beg him to wait and say they will do anything he wants. Dennis says, you burned my restaurant and you want me to calm down? What scoundrels you are! He shouts at them again, and they are terrified. Joseph says, name your wish. I will fulfill any request. Dennis says, in that case, give me back my father, Atelier, and all her books that were burned. But of course, Joseph is incapable of this and says, let's make a deal on something else. Just calm down. They all conspire to burn his restaurant. He shouts at them again, and Joseph admits that he was the one who gave the order, but that issuing the order was all he did. Dennis shouts at them again, and they are terrified. He says, you gave the order to the Silverwing Battalion, and also used the Night Fog Squad to set fire to my restaurant and burn Atelier's books. No matter what happened, you intended for the Supreme Judge to cover up the matter, didn't you? Joseph admits, I am wrong, but I am not the only one wrong here. A surprise, Feigo realizes that Dennis is using something to transmit sound to the outside, called the Dreadful Sound, which is in his hand. Joseph admits that they are all conspirators in this act. Feigo and the young man with him transmit this sound to everyone outside. Feigo begins to attack them, but they jump down and escape. He looks down to find many people in the restaurant watching him, having heard everything that happened and was said inside. He is shocked by this and what has happened. Dennis says to the gang, welcome to the temporary mobile restaurant, the Adventurer's Outdoor Restaurant. Thus, this Dennis was able to expose this despicable game and shame this gang. They will surely get what they deserve as a result of everything they did. And so, our episode ends today. We hope you will subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive all that is new. A traitor's plot for power, a hero's cunning trap to expose him. They were once comrades in the prestigious Silver Wing, but a hidden microphone at a grand feast will turn them into mortal enemies. The final battle between the cook and the commander begins now. Our episode today begins with Dennis, that strong and formidable man. It was after the incredibly clever plan they executed, exposing the scoundrels who wanted to seize the country and rise to power. They used a cunning trick, inviting everyone to a grand hall and turning on the loudspeakers. Then Dennis entered with a hidden microphone. From this, the people outside heard the great scandal, enraging Feigo, who shouts at them, "What are you doing, you scoundrels?" He tries to brandish his sword, but they quickly jump away. Here, he is stunned to find all the nation's officials have been invited to the massive party, and everyone can hear him. It was a shock in every sense of the word. Dennis then mocks him, saying, "Welcome, you fool, to our pop-up restaurant, the Adventurer's Outdoor Eatery. The townsfolk supported us by preparing the venue and providing the staff, while the food was catered by Black's restaurant. So, what do you think of our little surprise?" At this, the people begin to question and grow furious. "Is what we heard true? Is this real?" they shout. "Yes, we were just reading some books at the restaurant." "Are you the ones who burned it down? And burnt those books? How could you do that? How could you bring yourselves to do such a thing?" The problem was even worse. The highest judge in the land was involved in the affair. Everyone was complicit. Everyone was a traitor. After that, we see the official, Sistovich, who says, "The conversation that just took place was heard by all the lawyers. We will handle the consequences of all this, but you all, bravo, you've done an excellent job." Dennis tells them it's all over. You deserve what's coming to you, because you brought this upon yourselves. He then gets angry, stomps his foot on the ground, and shouts at the top of his lungs, "You deserve this, Feigo!" They all become intensely angry, but Feigo's rage boils over. He leaps and lands like a ticking time bomb, roaring, "I knew you would always interfere and stand against my military rule one day, Dennis. It seems expelling you was far too merciful. It seems, my friends, that this will be a fatal battle." Everyone watches, holding their breath. Feigo then says to Dennis, "I will kill you with this very sword. We were once comrades, so I will ensure your end is brutal. I will cut your neck, so you won't suffer, you fool." But Dennis is no pushover, my friends. He is a powerfully built man with rippling muscles. He summons his sharp blade and they charge at each other with immense force. As you can see, Feigo starts by firing powerful shots at him. Dennis summons a massive pot, using it as a protective shield to defend himself. He then uses a fire strike, which Feigo parries, and they clash once more. The scene then shifts to the past. When Dennis was in the Silver Wing unit, led by its commander, Figo, Kitty brought him in, saying, "This is Dennis." Figo looks him over and says his stats aren't good. He's just a cook. Dennis gets angry and retorts, "What do you mean, just a cook?" Tense glares were exchanged between them before Kitty intervened. "Calm down, both of you. We're not here to fight. Don't get worked up, Dennis." This was Dennis's first meeting upon joining the Silver Wing. After that, we see them in a cave. Dennis was preparing fresh meat for them, hamburgers in fact, and making them himself. Everyone is truly happy. We then see a tense conversation between Dennis and Figo, where we learn that Figo's goal is always to seize everything. That's his constant mindset. Afterward, Dennis prepares food for them, and everyone rejoices at the wonderful meal. "It tastes so good, folks. I bet you can smell its beautiful aroma through your speakers." Later, Kitty comes to him again and says, "I want another serving. This food is so delicious and I love it." He tells her, "Haha, you can have whatever you want. 2, 3, as many as you like. Don't be so formal with me." Next, we see Figo, the unit commander, expelling one of his men. "You made an unforgivable mistake. We have no need for someone as dull-witted as you. Get out now." The man begs him, "Wait, I beg you, please give me another chance." But Figo scolds him. "Didn't you hear me when I said get out? Now leave and get out of my sight." The man leaves, sad and with his head bowed. In that moment, Dennis calls out to him, "I wish I could do more for you, but take this to lift your spirits. They're rice balls filled with anti-inflammatory herbs that will grant you immense strength. And don't worry, my friend, you will find many places that will welcome you." The scene then shifts to something completely different, where we see Dennis and Figo, perhaps before the king, apologizing for failing a mission. But the king was very provocative, saying, "It seems the Silver Wing isn't so amazing after all. Besides, the story wasn't very good. It lacked excitement. If you had been defeated and 1 or 2 of you had died, things would have been a little better, more thrilling." Figo becomes intensely enraged, but Dennis calms him down, saying, "Easy, don't get angry." Afterward, we see them in a cafe. Figo was furious, saying, "These lazy people who were born into a privileged class by sheer luck always look down on us. We will defeat them and force them to bow at our feet. We have the talent and the ability to do it." We return to the present, having uncovered a piece of the past where the fight is at its peak. Figo presses the attack, striking a powerful blow, and just like that, Dennis's knife shatters. Dennis leaps back, enhances his senses, and his blade reforms anew. Figo scoffs, "Why are you getting so worked up? I've always been cooler than this. You put on a good show, but it's nothing more than that. You'd never stand up to an opponent you can't beat. That's how you've always skillfully handled things. In the end, you're just a naive, spoiled rich kid who was coddled by his wealthy mother." He then launches a ferocious attack, unleashing a barrage of powerful arrows. But Dennis manages to dodge and evade them. Figo continues his assault, and Dennis is forced onto the defensive, blocking the attacks with his cooking pots. But Figo shatters them one by one. The assault continues relentlessly, and Figo nearly has him cornered. But at the last second, Dennis takes cover behind a massive cooking pot, his last line of defense. Figo marvels that this is all Dennis has left, as Dennis is clearly exhausted. Suddenly, to change the tide of battle, Dennis alters the atmosphere, conjuring a thick fog to gain an advantage over Figo. Figo mocks him, saying, "No matter how you try to change, you're still just a cook. I was wrong about you." He recalls his childhood dream, watching a falcon in the sky, wishing he could soar as high. He roars, "You're one of those who always has things taken from them. You have no choice but to kneel before my heart, the heart of a falcon." They continue their fight, and the fog Dennis created begins to dissipate. We see Dennis's friends watching with deep concern. This is a battle between 2 men at level 99. Suddenly, Figo lands a massive hit on Dennis, sending him flying high into the air. As he falls, Dennis thinks, "My sense enhancement skill is still active. The movement around me seems slow." His friends worry for him. He thinks, "I have to regain my balance, or I'll be in danger." That scoundrel Figo is desperate, but he's incredibly strong. But what am I really fighting for? I cook food that I love. I own my own restaurant, and I help people. Sometimes I act like a big brother, and people rely on me. I live a fun-filled life. That should have been enough. I thought if I just did that, I would reach level 100 quickly." Dennis remembers asking his mentor why he hadn't reached level 100. She had told him, depending on who you are, your limit might be level 99. But Dennis was insistent, determined to catch up to his mentor at level 100. 100. His mentor explained, "You need something a little different to reach level 100. Someone like you, who accomplishes things so blandly, will never reach it. Try to find the answer and you will reach that level on your own." In that moment, plummeting towards the ground, he regains his clarity. He asks himself, why did I become a cook again? Why do I help people? Was it because the master chef, my mentor, took me in when I had nowhere else to go? That day, the master chef made the most delicious fried rice in the world, and I thought, I want to be able to make food like that too. Then, my mentor came to me and placed her hands on my shoulders. I can still feel it, a sensation that went beyond mere deliciousness. It was warmth. I wanted to be the one who gives food, filled with something like that, instead of the one receiving it. I wanted to be the provider for people who have known sadness, for people in harsh circumstances, or for the hungry, to give them the strength to live on for another day, to be able to create a smile and protect that smile. That is the food I wanted to make. That is why I became a cook. He is about to lose consciousness, but his friends call out his name, cheering for him, their trust unwavering. He awakens, seeing the expressions he helped put on their faces. "Don't lose, Chief. Boss," they cry. He remembers his mentor's final words. Level 100 isn't a place you arrive at. It's not something you strive for, nor something you become. It's something you are without even realizing it. Dennis hadn't understood, so she told him, "Do you know the story of the blue bird? It traveled everywhere searching for happiness, but true happiness was always close by." Levels work the same way. The difference between level 99 and level 100 is minuscule. It's simply a matter of whether what you already possess manifests or not. Now, where do you think that final piece is buried? It's been here from the very beginning. His mentor then pointed to Dennis's chest, right over his heart. Back in the present, Vigo lunges for the final blow, but in that instant, Dennis understands everything. He parries the strike with ease as a brilliant fire and immense energy erupt from him. The onlookers are stunned by Dennis's sudden surge of power. This is the power of level 100. Strength alone is not enough. Delicious food alone is not enough. There were many things Dennis hadn't done perfectly, but he now declares, "I want to be a chef who can protect their smiles." The strongest chef, the energy explodes from within him, surrounding him in a massive aura of fire and power. Figel is shocked, staring in terror at this unbelievable strength. And with that happy ending, it is clear that Dennis has triumphed over the scoundrel Figel. Join us in the next episode to find out what Dennis will do with this villain. But first, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated with all our new content. In this thrilling season finale, my friends, we witness Denis in a monumental battle against Vigo, the commander of the Silver Wing. Denis never wanted to harm anyone, but today, circumstances have forced his hand. We watch now as he unleashes his immense power. Could he be leveling up to the legendary level 100? We don't yet know the nature of this formidable power we're witnessing firsthand. Everyone stares in utter astonishment. This is likely the first time they have ever seen Denis so enraged. He summons his deadly knives, lunges at Vigo and declares, "Vigo, there's no place for you among us anymore." He delivers a devastating final blow. A baffled Vigo exclaims, "What is this power he possesses? I'm completely helpless." The very ground splits apart beneath him. Yes, my friends, this is Denis' unique skill. He is ascending to level 100, a declaration to the world embodying the very reason for his existence. Vigo stumbles, gasping. Incredible! Does such colossal power truly exist in this world? I can't believe my eyes. Is this the centrifugal force strike? He struggles to resist, but the earth continues to crack and shatter beneath him from the sheer force of the attack. When the dust settles, Denis collapses to the ground. His friends rush to his side, checking on him frantically. They tell him he finally did it. He defeated Vigo. Exhausted, Denis tells them he can't go on. All he wants is fried rice. He asks if one of them could make it for him. They eagerly agree, promising to throw a fried rice party today while he gets some well-deserved rest. Just then, Atelier approaches and hands Denis his bracelet. He thanks her for keeping it safe. Soon after, the police arrive to take Vigo into custody, and a sense of normalcy finally returns to the town. The scene shifts to Catty, seated with the head chef. She asks about Denis' sudden level up. "I knew you'd be here, Crimson Flame Sword," the head chef says. "You came to see it all for yourself." Catty replies, "I was about to intervene if it looked like Denis was in real trouble." The head chef cuts her off. "You should have jumped in mid-fight. That was the perfect moment." "This was the first time I'd seen Vigo fight so seriously," Catty admits. "I was a little scared. If I had charged in at the wrong moment, he would have sliced me in half. She then turns the conversation to Denise. The peak for a human is level 100, a realm only a handful in history have ever reached. The conditions for achieving it are still a mystery. How did Denise possibly break through the immense wall between level 99 and 100? I want to hear the perspective of someone else who has reached that peak. The head chef explained simply. Reaching level 100 is about discovering your true purpose in this world. It's not about mastering existing skills or techniques. It's about finding that one thing that only you can do in the truest sense of the word. Kati is completely lost. The head chef was always an eccentric, so this was to be expected. As the head chef continues, it is pure coincidence that Denis and I, both chefs, were born in this area, but our paths are entirely different. I pursued the most exquisite cuisine, aiming to become the greatest chef, and through that, I reached level 100. But Denis sought to become the strongest chef in the world. He chose to make it his purpose to protect the smiles of those around him. As a manager, his domain required a skill to expel any intruder from his restaurant. That is his unique co-organized based skill, the forced expulsion from the premises strike. Is that even a chef's skill? Kati asks, bewildered. It has nothing to do with cooking. You're right, the head chef replies with a smile. He's a true fool, just as you'd expect from the legendary fried rice. He always surpasses expectations in ways stranger than fiction. Elsewhere, Heath invites Fiorenza to eat with him. The lunch is delicious, he says. We have everything you could want. This prosciutto salad is exceptional. She refuses, stating her duty is to protect him while he eats. She then asks if Joseph and Vigo were causing him any trouble. Heath takes a bite of a pie, his eyes lighting up. It has that perfect sour sauce that I like, he remarks, offering her a piece. Fiorenza declines again. I was certain their plotting was all part of your grand plan, she says. Heath replies coolly, I would have used Vigo as a tool if the opportunity arose, but his absence is of no consequence. He comes from no special lineage and possesses no rare skills. I never expected Dennis to defeat them, Fiorenza admits. Of course, Heath says with a hint of pride. He is my little brother after all. The scene returns to Denis' friends checking on his recovery. They cheer as his wounds heal with remarkable speed. You guys are going to make my injuries hurt again, he yells. Are you here to visit me or to torment me? One of the girls holds up a set of blueprints. We brought you a gift. These are the plans for rebuilding the restaurant. Bolfo hired workers from the Builders Guild, but they couldn't start without a design, so we all pitched in. Denis thanks them, looking over the plans. This is completely different. I want new decorations. He squints. Why is the bathroom so huge? It's just a bathroom, and the entire front wall is missing. My idea, Viva chimes in. Since we're rebuilding, I thought we should go for a modern, chic look. The new Adventurers restaurant will have a floor-to-ceiling glass wall. It'll be so open and trendy. Denny groans. My restaurant doesn't need that kind of high-class vibe. And what in the world is this giant rectangle in the middle of the dining area? That was me, boss, Henrietta exclaims. I heard that in the capital, the fanciest restaurants have a massive fish tank right in the middle of the hall, filled with shrimp and fish. When you order a dish, they catch it fresh from the tank, right in front of you. Dennis shakes his head firmly. Absolutely not. First of all, my restaurant isn't that fancy, and second, even if I put in a fish tank, I know you'd eat everything in it without permission, Henrietta. She pouts, denying it. His eyes then fall on another detail. A cellar? My idea, Pachiel says. Once the restaurant reopens, it's going to be a massive success. You'll have to hire more staff to keep up, and this cellar can be their living quarters, so they can be available around the clock. Denny actually considers this, seeing the logic in it. Viva then updates us on what happened to the villains. All those connected to the magic incident, including Joseph, have had their evil deeds exposed to the world. Thanks to that, the royal government is now investigating everyone involved. The leadership of the Rockstadt family is now vacant, though Atelier seems reluctant to take it. The rest of the Mage Society is debating their next steps. Meanwhile, researchers in the capital are trying to find ways to restore the burned books. If they succeed, it'll be incredible. And the other big news, she continues, is that we all rebuilt the restaurant together. Today is the grand reopening. I took a day off from my team to be here. And I'm not alone. Henrietta, who joined the Night Order, is here, and so is Pachiel, who's now teaching at a school in the capital. As everyone believes the story is over, a lone figure begins to stir. Even if you can't stand on your own, a voice says in thought, you can if someone lends you a hand to pull you up. That's what Dennis taught me. Do you think I'll become a powerful mage like I promised, Dennis? The figure resolves. I have to get up first. Then I'll start walking, and I'll see what awaits me with my own two eyes. Then I'll start walking, and I'll see what awaits me out there with my own two eyes. I'm so glad this place was rebuilt. I'll be back for you, Cynthia. The scene transitions to Denis walking with Atelier through the town market. Are we missing anything else? He asks. Nope, we've got everything, she replies confidently. He starts listing items. Black pepper, sugar, dish soap, a knife sharpener, towels for the tables. We have it all, she reassures him. As they walk, Atelier suddenly bumps into a passerby. Atelier, Denis calls out, noticing her pause. What's wrong? It's nothing, she says quickly. Let's just go. On their way back, villagers greet them warmly and Atelier's face lights up with joy. Finally, they stand before their newly built restaurant. The group is gathered, admiring the new sign. It reads, The Outcast's Diner. I really don't like this name, Denis says flatly. There are so many other options. An ordinary name like The Adventurer's Eatery won't grab anyone's attention, Henrietta argues. Denis turns to Atelier for support. What do you think? Then he remembers, wait, you were the one who suggested it in the first place. Just then, Viva arrives. Hey everyone! Denis welcomes him and gestures to the sign. What do you think of the name? The Outcast's Diner? I love it, Viva says with a grin. Dennis throws his hands up in defeat. So you're all saying my taste in names is terrible, is that it? We didn't say that, boss, Henrietta says, trying to stifle a laugh. Are you backing down already, Chief? Pechiel teases. I am not backing down, Denis declares, pulling out a book. According to How to Open a Restaurant, a guide for retired adventurers, 4th edition, the name of the establishment is We know, they all say in unison, walking past him and into the restaurant. Inside, they look around in amazement. Hey, it looks exactly the same as it was before. Well, of course it does, Denis retorts, following them in. Who in their right mind would actually build it according to those bizarre blueprints you all drew? Atelier chimes in, I still think it needs a bigger bathroom. You're still on about that, huh? Denis sighs. He claps his hands together, shifting into work mode. Atelier, you'll help me out, right? Of course, she says. All right, everyone. What are your orders? I'll have the katsudon with ferreta meat, Henrietta shouts. I'll take the crab fried rice, Viva adds. And I'd like the fried shrimp platter, please, says Patiel. Denis and Atelier get to work, their movements perfectly in sync as they begin preparing the first meals in their new home. And so, today's episode comes to an end. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell.